5, 6, 7, and 8, go!
Hi, this is present-day Adelaide, and today I'll be answering some questions about my past.
So Adelaide, why are you not wearing your usual garments?
Well, I wanted to fit in and be as normal as I could.
Hi, this is Kate Blinger. Welcome back to Channel 47 News. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Adélaïde-Marie Champion.
So getting right into it, when and where were you born?
I was the last to be born in my big family of 14 in Rennes, France on November 5th, 1749.
So growing up in such a big family, did you and your family get along?
As I grew up, my mother made sure to surround me in a loving environment. Sadly, my father passed away, leaving my mother and myself all alone because my siblings left the house one by one. It's really sad. Thank you.
So I guess you could say that your mother influenced your life.
She was definitely my biggest supporter, and I knew that I could go to her if I ever needed help with something.
So did anyone else in your family influence you?
My grandparents always said the gravest were surprised, so that showed me early on to be brave and show courage.
So why do you think your grandparents thought this way?
They always believed strongly in taking risks, and whatever life throws you, be successful. They felt this way because they were so confident because of their wealth.
So was your family wealthy?
Yes, I grew up in a wealthy family and never had to worry about financial issues. However, I was never greedy and always wanted to give back to the poor.
So what did you do to help the poor?
Throughout the year of 1720, there were a series of tragic fires that left many people on the streets. I started by asking my friends for alms to help them.
That's really nice to hear because only some people think about themselves and not even care about other people. But did you realize how many people were on the street? Because you're doing so much outside of the house by helping the poor, what did you do when you were home with your mom?
At home, we had many servants at my house, and I never wanted to treat them badly. I did all I could to use kind words and be nice to them. This is when I decided to make a resolution for myself to never reply harshly to anyone and always speak with gentleness.
So did you do anything to help the servants?
Sometimes I would notice that one of my servants weren't feeling well, so I would do whatever I could to help them feel better. For example, one of my servants, Agatha, was feeling very ill, so I let her stay in my room so I could watch over her during the night.
That's very generous of you to do, but would you talk about your mom now?
Sure. After my siblings left home, I became very happy to look after her.
So what did you guys do to spend time?
We tried to spend as much time together as we could. Sometimes we even went on spiritual retreats together to better live the gospel. Also, instead of using my grandparents' motto, the bravest wins the prize, we created a new one, everything to please God, nothing for my own satisfaction.
Wait, that's actually amazing, but what did you do during the retreats?
During my retreat, my soon-to-be spiritual director, Father Borisol, preached. He had a great respect for the poor. I sat there listening to him in amazement, and he would always tell me it was so easy to love those around us today.
And how did he help you throughout your faith?
Well, I started by asking him to go to confession daily and receive communion daily, so I could then draw my strength to love from it. When I started to believe God was calling me to give my life to Christ, he supported me and wanted to help me fulfill my dream.
Wait, so how long did you work with him?
Well, sadly, he passed away in 1774, but before I worked with him for 2 years.
So when he died, what did you do to connect yourself with Jesus again?
It took me a while to go on without him, but he was a really big role model in my life. Well, I started by giving all my clothes away because they were just so cold and were on the streets. Well, he sadly passed away in 1774, but before I worked with him for 2 years.
So after he died, what did you do to connect yourself with Jesus?
Well, it took me a really long time because he was a very big role model in my life, and I didn't understand how I was only 25, I wasn't a nun, and I lived with my mother, but I could still devote my life to Jesus. But I soon realized that I could do that by being obedient and respectful.
Yeah, life-changing. So how did your mother feel about it?
My mother was there for me every step of the way, but sadly she passed away in the middle of winter.
So how did you first feel?
I was obviously really sad at first, but it gave me a better chance to help me live with God.
So with the free time you had, what did you do?
Well, I finally moved out because there was nothing keeping me there anymore, and I found a refuge at the Carmel Convent in Rennes, France.
And what did you do there?
I spent time with Jesus because with him my heart was consoled.
Did you ever think about joining a religious order?
I thought about joining the Ladies of the Incurables or Ladies of the Retreat, where I would go with my mother at times.
Did you choose either of these?
Well, Jesus wasn't waiting for me at either of these places, so instead I chose to stay at Dinan in Brittany with nuns I was friendly with. I met Father Pierre Joseph de Clorivier, who was the confessor at the convent.
Did you enjoy it there?
Yes, I enjoyed it very much, but then the French Revolution broke out in the summer of 1789, and religious life began to be prohibited. And priests had to submit themselves to a new revolutionary law. Father Clorivier resisted and was known as a recalcitrant priest.
And welcome back to Channel 47 News. Kate Blinger and your guest, Adélaïde-Marie. So we left off around talking about Father Clorivier, but now we're going to see he's a recalcitrant priest and if he was respected. Because he was known as a recalcitrant priest, was he still respected?
Well, before he was known as that kind of priest, and he was highly respected. But after the war, he wasn't respected as much.
Do you know why he was respected less?
I'm not very positive, but my guess would be because he became a recalcitrant priest.
Do you know why he reacted to this response?
Well, he obviously wasn't touched by the people's responses, and he received inspiration for a new form of religious life that allowed people to give their new lives freely to Christ, but in a good way.
And how did he do that?
Throughout the summer, he prepared the foundation for 2 new religious institutes, one for men and one for women, along the lines of my intuition.
And how did he find out about this?
I received a letter at Dinan from Father de Clorivier that talked about him proposing a new way of living in the footsteps of Jesus. We would live like everyone else, without a religious habit and without any obligation to live a life under a roof.
So back to you, Adelaide.
We both dreamed of living a new way of religious life without any distinguishing signs.
So would you say this was the start of the Daughters of the Heart of Mary?
I remember this day so well. It was a sunny day on February 1st, 1791, where the first members made their commitment to the Lord. I was still in Dinan, and Father de Clorivier was in Paris, France. Other members were in St. Malo. Kilometers separated us, but we were still connected through our spirits.
Wow, that's so exciting. And how did this end up coming all together?
Father Clorivier added my name to the Foundation Act and sent me images of the Virgin Mary with the quotes from the Gospel, "Do whatever he tells you and behold your mother."
Wow, that's so exciting.
Are you kidding me?
Can I have some tissue? Thanks. Wow, that's so exciting. So how did this all come together?
Several months later, Father Clorivier asked me to come out to Paris to accompany a small group of people who were commencing the society.
So how did you feel about leaving Brittany?
I knew the Lord was always going to be with me wherever I went, so I was ready to leave.
When you left Brittany?
I was ready to leave because I knew that wherever I went, Jesus would be with me.
And how was life in Paris?
Life in Paris was very risky for those who were opposed to the Revolutionary War, and many members of the 2 societies were executed. This scared me a lot, but I stayed strong through it all, and I still helped the poor. A recommendation of mine was to be very cautious when it came to the nuns and the sisters.
This is just so terrible and depressing. How did other family members think about this?
Well, some of my family members actually went into exile, trying to escape the execution. I'm sorry, can I please have a tissue?
Let's take a break, okay? Feel better?
Yeah.
And we're back.
Some of my family members actually went into exile while trying to escape the execution. I, however, stayed in Paris and received letters from them as the police closely watched over me.
Having the police watch over you every second of the day, did you ever spend time in jail?
Actually, I once spent a whole 3 weeks in prison for being falsely accused of something I didn't do, and in the following year I was accused of having taken part in a plot against the revolution and was sent away to prison again under the control of capital punishment.
What did you do while you were in prison?
I actually used the free time as an advantage and used the time to talk to Jesus about other prisoners and to put my charity into practice by sharing my worn clothes and skirts.
Do you remember when your trial was held?
The trial was held in April in the year of 1801, and the judges couldn't believe their eyes when more than 60 people turned up to testify in my favor. The people spoke about my charity and how good it was. In the end, court anonymously acquitted me, and as soon as I was free, I quickly began to help the poor who had supported me.
That's so nice to hear.
I know.
That so many people had your back and supported you.
Yeah.
Where was Father de Corvier when this happened to you?
Father Corvier was actually sent to prison as well, and I had to stand in for him for directing the two societies. I couldn't visit him, but I did find a way to communicate with him. I would make a large basket of clothing and provisions and would hide letters and sometimes even host for communion.
Did he ever end up being released from prison?
Yes! He was finally released sometime in 1809, and out of prudence, I thought it would be best if I waited for him at his house.
As you got older, didn't it become hard to fulfill your destiny?
Actually, as I got older, I got sicker and weaker. I soon retired to a small apartment attached to the Foreign Missions Chapel, and I usually spent my time praying there. I also took care of my sisters there, wrote to them, and would even visit them sometimes.
You really are a legend.
I know.
What were you diagnosed with, though?
I was unfortunately diagnosed with a lung disease that worsened my strength more and more every day. I know. Every day, my sisters would set my chaise lounge up to face the tabernacle, and it really was like my highlight of my day. This is where I spent my 25th and 26th day of April, as if I knew my death was near. And on Sunday, April 26, 1818, in the early morning, I peacefully fell into my death slumbers in the presence of the Heavenly Mother.
No.
I know.
That's so sad to hear. Can we talk about your funeral?
Sure. An impressive number of people came to pay their respects to me, and it was a very wonderful service.
Well, that's so great to hear. So, what is the Daughters of the Heart of Mary?
Today they continue to work to build a world in which the main goal is equality and justice for God's people, attempt to be a community in which each member's gifts are appreciated, and work for an earth that is protected and restored. They are committed to serve people of all social backgrounds, ages, and traditions. Their mission today is to announce the good news of the kingdom.
So, do you want to talk about how Narn Academy was founded?
Narden Academy was founded in 1857 as the first Catholic schools in western Buffalo, New York, by Ernestine Narden, Victorian Butcher, and Eliza Smith, who were proud members of the Daughters of the Heart of Mary.
That's so interesting because myself went to Narn Academy High School. Well, thank you so much for coming out today, Adelaide. I'm sure your story will humble many lives and encourage people to do better. It was so nice meeting you.
You too.
Okay.